the public plan, almost all of that appears in the first 50 pages. And it is not hard to read. It is confusing somewhat because it's written somewhat in legalese, but you do not have to have a law degree. And if Mr. John Conyers, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, can't read this without a lawyer, he better find new work, in my opinion. To be totally candid, not every member reads every bill. So a gentleman asked me a question a minute ago about cap and trade. Not a single member, not one member, Republican or Democrat, could have read the entire cap and trade bill before it passed. Not one member could read it because, as I think many of you know, it passed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It had been amended by a 304 or 309 page amendment at 3 a.m. that morning. And at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I asked the clerk, the presiding officer of the House, if they had integrated it. Now what that means is, when you amend a piece of legislation, you don't just add 300 pages on the end, so you read what you read before and then you read the next 300. Each of the 300 pages changes some line or page of the existing bill. So they have to mark the changes on the 300 pages into the original 900 pages. That was still being done when the bill was voted on. So if any member of Congress, literally any member of Congress, says to you, I swear to God, I read the cap and trade bill before I voted on it, that person is a liar. Because it could not be done. So I think members of Congress darn well ought to read this bill. It's not that hard. And you can download it and read the first 50 pages and make your own decisions. Okay, TRICARE and Social Security. I'm going to throw in Veterans Care. These answers are the best I can give you at the moment. Number one, Medicare changes because they essentially do away with Medicare Advantage. And Medicare Advantage is the private side of Medicare where you can buy other than fee-for-service and get additional benefits. The majority party doesn't like that, and that is, I believe, pretty much wiped out in this bill. That will be a change to Medicare. From what I understand, VA is not protected under this bill. TRICARE, I am told, is protected under the bill. I'm not an expert on those programs. When I read through those portions of the bill, I did not follow them that closely. It's not an area of jurisdiction for my committee. But as I understand it, TRICARE is allowed to remain in effect. VA care is not necessarily allowed to remain. It is affected. Medicare, I can't describe precisely how. You need to contact my office. We'll get you a detailed answer.
What do you do with all the VA hospitals?
I'm just telling you, it's an open question. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I am a product or tied into that single payer program as a disabled retired vet.
There you go.
Anybody who supports this entire system needs to tell anyone that says, I support single payer, tell them to go to a VA hospital and walk around with a vet for a day. 1 day. So, and the Title I Me website, I love it. I download the bill and I put it as an attachment and send it off so it plugs up his mailbox. So my question to you, sir, is when I go buy a car, I know how much it's going to cost. Why can't I call my doctor's office or a hospital and say, how much do you charge? And they should be able to, if they can bill me after the fact, they should be able to tell me ahead of time so I can shop around.
I love this question. I love this question, and I love it because it lets me point out what is wrong in the current system. Some people have said, why would we need to reform it? I'll tell you why we need to reform it. Because it is not a free market system. It is not responsive to your needs and my needs, and it doesn't allow competition to either hold costs down or quality up. Let me explain this question. And I love this one. Many of my friends in Congress look at the question this gentleman just asked, disabled veteran, and say, how come there isn't transparency? How come you can't call a hospital and ask them what a procedure is going to cost? Or they'll say, how come you call one hospital and they say an appendectomy is $1,800